It is possible for an ordinary person to choose to be extraordinary. Life cannot just be about solving problems. When you wake up in the morning, you must have a reason to live, a vision that makes you proud to be a part of humanity. His mindset is simple. If something is important enough, you do it, even if the odds are not in your favor. Giving up? Out of the question. To quit, you must be either utterly powerless or dead. Do not be afraid of risk. You can put all your eggs in one basket, as long as you control that basket. Work like crazy, 80 to 100 hours a week. This is not just a duty. This is your debt to the future you are building. Learn from your mistakes. Failure is not a bad thing. Not trying enough, that is the bad thing. Constantly think, how can I do better? Now the choice is yours. You will either just be a spectator. These are all great lessons, but just the beginning. The real secret is still in the shadows. So what is Elon Musk's true secret? To everyone I've ever upset, let me just say this. I reinvented electric cars, and I'm sending people to Mars on a rocket ship. Did you really expect me to be calm or normal? Elon Musk, 2021. And then another voice, a challenge rising from the depths of history. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Steve Jobs. These two lines whisper the greatest madness of our era. Real change belongs only to those who refuse to be normal. The countdown began. The screens were trembling. Time grew heavy inside the control room. And then, that moment came. The rocket lifted off the ground, rose into the sky, and everyone held their breath at the same time. It's launched. But sometimes success only lasts a few seconds. Data began to drop, engine power weakened, the flames wavered, and then silence. That gigantic hope rising into the sky shattered and fell into the ocean. The screens went dark. Not a single word was spoken in the control room. It wasn't just a machine that fell. A dream had fallen. In that moment, a sharp pain struck inside him. Because what was lost wasn't only metal, it was a trial of the future. Night fell. The engineers gathered quietly on the shore. Some hid their tears. Some stared at the waves in the darkness. He said nothing. He only looked into the distance. Then, in a very calm voice, he said, "This is not the end. If it didn't work, we will do it again." And the very next day, while the wreckage was still warm, he had already begun again. They went out to sea, collected the pieces one by one, placed them side by side in a hangar. Everyone was looking at what went wrong in the past. He was looking at how the future would be built. Every part was examined, every mistake revealed with cold precision, ruthlessly, yet fairly. Then came the second attempt, this time quieter, more cautious, yet still fearless. Simulations were run, risk lists were prepared, and some risks were deliberately accepted. Because he knew this, there is no such thing as zero risk, only unmanaged risk. In March, the countdown began again. 0. The engine ignited, the rocket rose into the sky once more. A voice was heard. We did it! But the celebration was short-lived. Minutes later, the data shook again, the second stage wavered, and hope was wounded once more. The rocket reached space, but failed to enter orbit. The second collapse. 2 attempts, 2 losses, yet not a single step back. Then a decision was made. From that moment on, no risk would ever be ignored. Even the simplest looking details could be the most dangerous. And he said, "From now on, there will be no 11th risk on our list. From now on, every risk is number 1. The greatest lesson we take from this chapter is this: You may fall twice. You may collapse 3 times. But the real question is this: how many times you rise again? These are powerful lessons, but they are not Elon Musk's winning secret. They are only reflections on the surface. What truly determines everything is hidden in a depth we have not yet reached. And we will continue this journey to the end, until we trace that secret to its source. Because the real answer is still hidden in the dark. Everything was falling apart right here. The money was running out, time was closing in, and now, the steering wheel had to fall into someone's hands. In Elon Musk's success story, everyone sees the rockets, talks about billion-dollar dreams, but the real struggle begins where no one is looking. When Tesla first emerged, the target was clear. There was a dream, there was a price, but reality was far harsher. Costs spiraled out of control, parts weren't working, production stopped, time was slipping away, and the money was burning. And instead of watching from afar, Musk stepped directly into the field. He walked straight into the mud, not with reports on a desk, but by facing the reality on the floor. What he saw was this: the system had collapsed, the teams had stopped, the building was silent. This wasn't a setback, it was a full-scale breakdown. And this is where his mindset separated from everyone else's. As the money was running out, while everyone else was thinking of pulling back, he chose to build a new structure. In the middle of the crisis, this is what he did. He changed people, he changed the system, he changed the logic of production. He didn't chase success in the product, he chased it in the process. One night, inside a dark factory, when he saw machines working without people, he realized this: it wasn't time that had to be beaten, it was the system. And at that moment, Tesla's fate began to shift. But then, another nightmare began. Parts were traveling around the world. Money was being spent months before a single product was sold. Every battery was turning into a loss before it was even installed. When the numbers were laid on the table, the truth was ruthless. Every vehicle was losing money. Cash was running out before any car reached a customer. And this is exactly where most people fall apart. They make excuses, they blame others. But Musk did the most dangerous thing of all. He confronted reality. With the numbers, with the mistakes, with his own errors. And he accepted this. The problem wasn't the dream. The problem was the system. Success didn't come that day. Victory wasn't claimed that day. But fate changed that day. Because that day, he didn't choose to run. He chose to stay and fight. From that point on, the steering wheel slowly began to change hands. Musk realized this. The crisis wasn't only in production. The crisis was in management. The more authority was shared, the larger the problem became. The longer decisions were delayed, the faster the cash disappeared. And instead of waiting, he chose to take control. Temporary solutions were tried. New leaders were brought in. But no structure could endure his pace and pressure. Because for Musk, the issue was never a title. The issue was who had their hands on the steering wheel. One day, at the head of the table, he said this: "My hands have to be on the wheel. 2 of us cannot drive this car." And in that moment, it wasn't just a seat that changed. Tesla's destiny shifted as well. A fearless name was brought in, a leader with military discipline, but he didn't know the automotive world. Months passed. Production was still struggling. Time was tightening. Money was running out again. And finally, the heaviest decision arrived. He blamed no one. He hid behind no one. He pushed the responsibility onto no one else. He took the steering wheel himself. That day, he officially became the CEO. But in truth, he had already been driving all along. From the outside, it looked like a change of title. Inside, what happened was this. A structure that avoided risk disappeared, and in its place stood a leader who carried the entire burden alone. This is the clearest expression of his success mindset. Never leave control to anyone else. Never hand the outcome over to someone else. Whatever the cost, pay it personally. Because for Musk, success is not a comfort to be shared. It is a burden to be carried. In episode 2, we will dive even deeper into Elon Musk's secret. We will uncover, step by step, how he built everything in his life. His decisions, his mistakes, his breaking points, all laid out in front of us. Because there are game-changing success secrets to be learned from Elon Musk, and we will uncover those secrets together from behind the curtain of mystery.